Today is the 17th day of July 2024, and of course, as it stands now, we have about 66 days till September 21st. So that's the day of the election. 66 days, some hours, some minutes, some seconds, and on the way to Edo 2024. Now, what are the issues? Still things that we are talking about here on our program this morning on ITV. Now, we've got, three gentlemen here. This morning, good enough. They are all members of one political party or the other campaign organization or council as far as the Edo 2024 is concerned. Well, very close to me here, I have Peter Okunbowa, a seasoned educationist, and of course a member of the YPP campaign council, Edo 2024. Mr. Peter, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Evans. Good morning, audience.
Yeah. And I've got the tallest of them all, Honorable Shedrack Odugbai. He's making it the first time on my show.
Thank you
Honorable,
very
you're
much.
welcome to
Thank you very
this
much.
program. Odugbai is a member of the PDP campaign council. That's the Aswe Udalo Oge Race to Power 2. I had to ask him because when you see the acronym AIO2, you're welcome, Mr. Odugbai.
Thank you very much.
All right. All right, so Ken Erunse, big brother friend. Ken Erunse is also a member of the APC Campaign Council and a spokesperson for that campaign organization for that matter, Edo 2024. Mr. Ken, you're welcome to this program.
Good morning, Nigerians.
All right.
Good
So
morning,
now, gentlemen, now one thing that stands clear in this election is that after this election, we're going to be having a series of other elections. There's no doubt about that. But the momentum that we are finding, the interest, the way people are going about this election, it looks as if this is perhaps the final and the last election that Edo is going to have. I mean, we've got about 16 candidates, 16, 17 candidates, perhaps the largest in the history of Edo election, contesting for just one seat. Now, what is really responsible for all this strength, all this momentum, all this, everything we find about this election? I'll start with Mr. Okunbowa.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. For us at the Young Progressives Party, the response to this seemingly challenge of governance is for us a generational response, wherein we believe that the capacity of a man is at its best in his youthfulness. That is why the scriptures always admonished that do not forget the days of the youth. And for us, if the youth had proven capacity openly in the entertainment sector, in the sports sector, in the tech sector, in the food industry, then what is to stop them from taking their destinies into their hands and doing it for themselves? I mean, why would the youth of today be represented? A generation of Gen Zs be represented by old folks who cannot even use the laptops. How do you then harness the good in the internet space when there's so much generational gap between you and them? Yeah, you may want to leverage on the fact that the other persons you have brought in the guise of the SAs and the SSAs and the commissioner who could bridge that. It doesn't change the fact that you, who is the driver of that seat, you are too far from the generation that is now in need of the kind of leadership that is needed to go through the socio-political economic space of the 21st century. Very recently, days ago, the Labour Party in the United Kingdom elected in by 9 to 11 lawmakers. And interestingly, Mr. Evans, all of them were less than 30. I saw guys who were 21, 22, 23. The oldest was 28. And these are the same white people we think we want to be like. You think they are stupid to elect in very young people like that? It's that in every generation, the young people must rise up to the occasion, to defending themselves, to putting their generation out there for whatever it is that they have a need of, ahead of every other older generation who, in the case of Nigeria, those who are actually trying to lead us today are those who benefited from Nigeria when Nigeria was good. Nigeria has become what it is. They still hold on to the reins of power. They still benefit from power. I tell people that one of the reasons why the YPP is on this race is those who are considered the class of the ruling class and the elites in Edo made it clear and explicit so in 2016 with the Pension Amendment Act that now enabled ex-governors and deputy governors to take from the people's sweat continually till they die. For us, that is social injustice. And that social injustice is now so pervasive in our life and everything we do today, to the extent that just not long ago, my younger brother and the then speaker of Delta State House of Assembly, Honorable Martins Okonta, were in the same class in UDSS in Benin here. They were in the same class. Undubisi and Famous were in the same class in Benin here. Not long ago here. But you see presently, a man of that class, a speaker, today in Edo, his child will not be in UDSS or any public school in Edo. Okay. That's because the social injustice is so widened. That is the call. That is what is putting us out there to answer the need of a generation that is now going to waste.
Okay, let me pause you. I'll come back to you because you started by trying to talk about the youths. Now, all the candidates now, most especially, I don't want to use the word the major political parties because all the parties are major as far as the election is concerned. But if you look at the candidates across the political parties now, I'm not sure any one of them is above 65. If I get my record correct, you know, for some people, they see them as youths.
By age demographs, sir, what is the definition of a youth?
Yeah, I need to ask you that question. Maybe I'll come back to you when I come back to you. Now, Honorable Shedrack Udugbai, now, for your own party, the People's Democratic Party, perhaps a lot of things to talk about, and of course, a lot of ways to look at the election. Little wonder, from your own way of looking at the whole scenario about the election, who do you think is more prepared? Your own party or the Edolites that are going to be casting their votes for any of the party that they prefer? Who do you think is more prepared?
I see it side by side, that both the people and the party. And the candidate in particular, they are all well prepared and they are positioned to ensure that in the next 6 days they'll be heading to the poll, they'll be casting their votes, and then we'll be restating governance as it should be. You asked earlier on why exactly now is the thing gaining heat and momentum.
Yeah.
We could see to a very clear extent that the people of Edo State and Nigeria that have come to acknowledge the fact that everything in Nigeria resides on politics. Then in other established climate, it is the economy that is the superstructure. Every other thing is built upon the economy. Even politics is based on the economy. But in Nigeria and in Edo State, as it is across, what we have, politics is the superstructure. And even the economy resides on top of politics. So if the people make any strategic decision, negatively affects the polity, it directly affects the economy. I'll give you a clear example. When Tinubu became president, he was at the inauguration ground. He had not even gone to the office, he had not consulted, he had not formed cabinet, that he said fuel subsidy are gone. And immediately fuel price jumped from by 100 and something naira to about 500 naira.
Yeah, and was it the statement that cost that?
No, of course, the statement cost it.
But it was a law.
No, let me explain to you. When he said, the direct correlation, he said fuel subsidy gone that evening, and that evening we saw people gradually begin to launch their filling station. And so the challenge that we've seen, the people most likely have seen that political power is immense power. And because that's been manhandled very obviously manhandled in the last 3 administrations, starting from the time of the APC took over by President Muhammadu Buhari, and people now begin to usher into an era of pervasive poverty, hunger, unemployment, double-digit inflation. To tell you that the oil, the engine oil we used to buy for 3,500 now sells for 16,000 naira. So there's challenges at all facets. That's why the people are now conscious to say, if our problem is coming from policy, from having elected the wrong leader, we will not go that direction anymore. We will now look for a candidate that has the requisite capacity to manage both man and material to prosperity. A candidate that has built something, that has shown that he will be able to manage the collective patrimony of Edo State and usher us into an era of prosperity. That we're going to try as much as possible to manage our collective affair in the state away from the narrative of the Nigerian federal government, to ensure that we're able to manage our people well and take them out of poverty. That is why we have recommended, the party has come together and they have brought forward a candidate of Aswe Igudalo to say this man, he has the competence, he has the character, he has the experience, he has the capacity, he has managed he has built a law firm that rose to be one of the largest in West Africa. He has held numerous organizations, numerous companies, numerous boards, and he has seen that this man has superior argument, he has intellectual capacity to translate our resources, both the human and material resources, to prosperity. And they are now come together to put together a very robust manifesto, which is called the Prosperity for All, the Pathway to Prosperity for All. And that is the only candidate that has his manifesto christened on the paper. It is out in the public domain. That stands as a social contract between Edo people and Aswe Igudalo. And they have come out with a 5-point agenda. He has said, first, we improve the well-being of Edo people. Secondly, we focus on growing the economy. Thirdly, we sustain the environment. Fourthly, we enthrone good governance. And fifth, we work on security, law, and order. That is Asuego Dano's manifesto.
Okay,
It's robust and it's detailed. Okay. And with that, we want to reposition Edo State to an era of positive and productive contribution. Okay. And that's why we are ready and we are moving forward in that direction.
All right, so can you say, Udugbai just said that the PDP has their manifesto crested on the paper. Little wonder what other political parties, they have some billboards, and all that. That's just what we always say. Now, Mr. Kenneru, say, for your own party, the All Progressives Congress, the APC, they seek to effect a change. Little wonder, what change or changes are we talking about?
Thank you, Mr. Evans. First of all, let me come in like this. You quite make your introduction. Your introduction was very clear that the momentum is very high in this particular election. Yeah. And for obvious reasons anyway. The momentum is high. Because why? Edo people are ready to take back their state. As we speak, there's little or no existence of governance in the state. We have had governance 8 years totally below standard in the last 8 years. We have not witnessed infrastructural development in Edo State in the last 8 years. We have not seen proper visible development other than the ones that they have on their papers or on their laptops. Edo State have been deprived in the last 8 years in terms of good governance and transparency, accountability. It is a time for the people who are ready now to take back their stake. This momentum was not as high like this in 2016 because for obvious reasons too. The then governor, Adams Oshomole, was leaving a very visible legacy of achievement. And so when he was bringing someone to take over from him, people naturally embraced that successor or that person who was coming to take over from him based on the qualities, sterling qualities of Adams Oshomole, based on his track records, his achievements, and it was visible for everybody to see.
What was visible now? The quality of the candidate that Adams Oshomole
I said, no, that was not the point. The people didn't know the candidate as Aden, the present government.
Except Adams Oshomole?
Yes. Okay. So he rode on the back of successes of Adams Oshomole, and that was why people surrounded their, or rather, were more like inclined to vote for the candidate then, based on Adams Oshomole achievements as a governor. So the momentum was a bit calm. But now, referencing that and what we have today, there's a great departure. It's a big departure from the past. The momentum is high now because what Oshomole left, the legacies he left behind, has either been destroyed, they have not been taken to the next level, they have been neglected by the present government or by the present government. So the enthusiasm is naturally high that, oh, we must take back our state. That is why the APC, the candidate, my principal, has come to take us back to the glorious days, back to the Oshomole era, where we could witness visible development in Edo State. Everything Oshomole did, the roads, the hospitals, the university, name them, they are still there today. They are standard, constructed roads. For the first time in Edo State, we witnessed roads that had walkways, slabs were covered. As if you see that the gutters were like almost 4 or 5 feet, wide with the width and deep and the depth as well. But what do we have today? The few roads that the present government has been able to do, which are not more than 300 kilometers, 300 meters of road that it does everywhere. As we speak, they are collapsing, they are wearing out. I can take you around GRA today, and I will show you most of the roads that were done recently 4 years ago that have collapsed completely.
Okay, all right. So,
and even as we speak, they are even trying to enforce or try to apply palliatives on those roads that were just constructed 3 or 4 years ago. And the palliative, as we speak, are already wearing off. As the rain falls, you don't see those roads existing anymore. So now, we are coming with a slogan. Time to retake Edo State back. Time to reset Edo State. Time is not the time for it's less talk, more work.
Okay.
Because in the last 8 years, we have had government or a governor that has just been talking.
All right. So
less work, nothing on ground. When we get there, we will analyze and do a comparison of where we are now and where we were in 2016.
Beautiful. Now,
in comparative to even other states around us, I see that those states have gone down the drain.
Okay. Now, Mr. Kumbawa, now your own party, the YPP, showcases a candidate that is young. There's no doubt about that. And that's your metric. That's your message. You believe so much in the philosophy of the youth and all that. Now, but if you look at all the candidates across the various political parties now vying for this election, like I said a while ago, none is above 65, if I get my except maybe some of the deputy governors, like deputy governor of the PDP now, should be more than 65. You know, other political parties, I think they are below 65 and all that. So some people, they can still say that, hey, these guys are still youth. So what exactly does the YPP mean when you talk about this youth philosophy, this youth metric and all that? What exactly do you mean?
It could be derived from its nomenclature, which is essentially the Young Progressive Party. So it's easily seen from that nomenclature that we're a party that is seemingly promoting and advancing the cause of the younger generation. However, it's not narrowed to an age factor. You might be 70, 80, 90, 100, and if your policies align with the younger generation, then you are of that generation by reason of politicking and policy making.
Okay.
So for us, we are not saying that the ideas that are needed in governance would exclusively come from this age demographic of young people. We've seen young who have had their time, who have had the opportunity at power, misuse it. We've seen that those have become the bad examples and references today for the opposition parties to want to downplay the value of having a younger mind in office. But what is staring and looking at all of us, and something we cannot deny in our conscience, is that most of the things we did when we were younger, we can't do them anymore. We're diminishing as we age in every respect. I think that's why you have an age clause on retirement from our civil service, because there's a belief that at that level you are no longer as productive as you were when you were younger. Sadly, in this part of the world, you have people who should have retired from the civil service now going to public office to pretend over the affairs of even babies that were born today. People who, by reason of age clause in the civil service, have been deemed to have diminished in their capacity, now trying to lead this country. I think basically that's been one of the biggest challenge and problem of this country. When you look around the world, you look at leaders that have been chosen around the world, you see that majority of these leaders who are actually doing for their people are the young ones, the very young ones. Even recently in Africa, the areas where coup d'etat had installed military governance. You see that very recently Traore was trying to put up a transition government back to civilian rule. The people came up and said, no, continue. Because this guy is not just young. He's bringing in the energy, he's bringing in the assurance that the younger generation will not go to waste. It is always on the back of these young people that every government world over has moved from stage one to the next stage. And primordially, sir, a man who is in his 60s can never outsmart a man that is in his 20s in terms of ICT and its values. Because when the computer thing came up here, as far back as the year 2000, the computer thing was not everywhere. So your generation, you guys are in the 60s and 50s. Can you tell me that a generation that was born into ICT, who are immersed themselves in ICT, little wonder, is it not the young people that are doing the fraud today, defrauding the Western world of their, flexing them of their resources via the same internet? Can the older generation do what the younger generation will do? We are saying that for the many opportunities that is available to our people vis-a-vis agriculture, the YPP candidate has put up a manifesto. When you condense a manifesto to paper, as it were, the papyrus read, as it were, you are essentially now also taking us back to the Stone Age, because those who came up with the science of reading and writing have also told you that if you want to hide anything from a black man, put it in writing. We know that today people don't have reading culture. Let nobody tell me otherwise. People are essentially now looking at audio-visual as a way of learning. That is why for us, in the education policy that we're up to, audiovisual is the way to engage this generation. That is why the YPP candidate has shown, luminously by example, that if you want to look into my body language, you will see it in my write-up. My write-up, the manifesto in print could have been written by a consultant.
Yeah.
It could have been written by somebody who's an expert to put 1 or 2 lines together. But if I speak of the things that I want to do, document it in an audio-visual format, in an internet space that will never lie, that will never go to waste. The paper can get lost. The paper can be redacted. Except you're telling me that there are documentations that are of past that are still today. We're looking for some documents today that we can't find no more. But anything that have been committed to the internet space is living forever, as long as the internet space is. So if you want to see what the manifesto of the YPP candidature is, it's condensed in a video manifestation on health sector, on education, on agriculture, tabulated.
Yeah. All right, so thank you. Now, just like all other parties, they have their own political manifestos too. You find them everywhere. Now, let me come to the PDP guy, Honorable Dubai. Now, there's no doubt, I must be frank and sincere here, there's no doubt that the approach of the present state government now to trying to develop the state is high right now, but there are concerns, and these concerns may be suspicious. That why now? I mean, for a government that had good 8 years, the roads that are being built now, why didn't they build them in the past 7 years? The facilities that have been, done now, why didn't they do them in the past 8 years? I mean, you go to Welu Spare Patrol, that road as we speak now is under construction. Why didn't the government do that in the past 8 years? These are concerns on Dubai.
Yeah, in terms of, I have it on good authority to say that Obaseki has been working right from the first day in office. We should even be grateful that we have a governor that is rounding up 1 year to office, and yet governance is still taking place. The man is dedicated and committed to ensuring that I don't even get the best, irrespective of the seconds that is left. I speak to you now, work is ongoing. It's a thing of applause. I should keep thanking the governor. Despite all he has done, he's still committed to doing more. There are many persons who have, like my brother was saying, I've listened to these arguments repeatedly. People who come to public domain just to spread half-truths, attract lies, or misinform the public. That Governor Godwin Obaseki has done nothing. What Oshomole did was better. I remember very clearly, I was in this state when Adams Ali Oshomole was governor. We know the way they call Oshomole police. What Obaseki now revamped to Etzma. We know how many, the way the hospitals open the door, jump into people's cars, and the number of accidents that occurred during that period and the people that died. Yeah,
but we still had a couple of that been reported. So
as of today, they now the position. You can't compare Etzma to Oshomole police. We know the level of political raising that took place in terms of revenue generation. It was Obaseki who came on board that infused technology to say that no, government revenue will not find its way to private pocket, because in APC there, you're easy to empower political thuggery. You're easy to empower some non-state actors who had sway of the collective patrimony of this state. They were celebrating billions and private properties. Obaseki was the one that brought Edo State people money into the covers of government and ensured that every penny accounted for works down for the people of Edo State. It was Godwin Obaseki who came on board and disbanded the committees, the CDAs. That was a beehive of activity, and reinstated a more cerebral means of land administration by setting up the Edo Geographical Information Service GIS, where today now, as I speak to you, CFO that used to take 18 months, now takes less than 3 months. CFO that used to cost over $1 million, now costs less than a few 100,000. Because today we now have a way of establishing who owns land in those states. Only God knows how many people lost their properties during those dark days, how many people who lost their lives during intercommunal war. It was Godwin Obaseki that introduced all of this. Godwin Obaseki did interventions in health. Today I speak to you now, the nursing, the School of Nursing Science at Asaple Road was being shut down during the years of Oshomole. Today it is functional and be upgraded, rebuilt, and repositioned to be one of the best in West Africa. Obaseki has also done on that one in the Edo State School of College of Health Sciences and Technology in Dumes. Obaseki has repositioned. Obaseki is renovating and rebuilding the College of Education in Goraki, the College of Education in Igwebe, College of Education in the other one again, even the Catholic has been taking it, has upgraded and giving it down to federal government, and it's now a federal institute of technology. Obaseki has done, even the College of Education, Obaseki has done well. Obaseki has also moved into the civil service. That one is a new ball game. During Adams Ali Oshomole's period, he was a labor leader. But we saw a labor man who could not treat the laborers well. A labor man who was owing salaries, owing pensioners. We were wearing placards and running around the streets every single day. But Obaseki came. He not only reorganized the system. He brought in the JOSA, the John Odigi Oyegu Training Center, which was there to reposition, retool, educate, and empower those civil servants to ensure that they're able to perform at the optimal level. He repositioned the civil service and began to attract best talents and best. Today, I speak to you, anybody that graduated in first class from Edo State or any other university that's Edo born, it's been given automatic employment in the Edo State civil service. As I speak to you now, that JOSA, the John Odigi Oyegu Training Center, is now, it has been adopted by the other 5 states of South as the training center for all their civil servants. Obaseki has empowered, has repositioned. He has built the secretariat, repositioned that building to ensure that our civil servants have a good working environment. And beyond that, because of the colossal failure caused by the APC, the hardship that has made down the unemployment and pervasive hunger, Obaseki now move forward to say, okay, it's going to increase the minimum wage. When the federal government is crying that they cannot pay servers, the laborers their wages, Obaseki is paying 70,000. Listen to me. When you say the state is not working, they are paying salaries. That is just one of the few. If we talk about Obaseki's intervention, they are not
paying 70,000 minimum wage. I will
look at this.
I will talk about that.
Let me quickly, sorry that I had to interrupt, but for the sake of emphasis, now I want you to answer this question along your discussion line. Now, these things you talked about, the Johnson and all that, for most people, they perhaps see it as a way of giving a new name to an existential, agency. I remember during the time of Adam's social model, we had a civil service training school. I mean, you could,
where was this
as a civil servant, you could go to that training school.
Where is the school located? I want to know.
It was located in the present day Palm House. So we had something like that under the civil service academy. Yeah, we had something like that. We had something like that.
Something like that.
Well, we had something like that. So
what is even referring to? It's not a school.
What we're saying,
it's just a building structure.
Now, what we're saying,
the other state governments who are coming to train as supposed to there's no school.
No, that's not the issue.
It's not
a I want you to clarify. Yes. Now, because for most people, they see that Obaseki did all these things, but it's like giving a new name to an existential thing before. You may clear that.
No. Obaseki has done a whole lot. It's not a new name to existential. The John Odigi go has civil servants. Don't maybe you are not working with the state civil service. That's why you perhaps are not very informed. The Palmas you see. Listen to me. I'm in government. I'm in government.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that JOSA, the John Odigi, they may be doing training. You can organize, call one person to train your right, but don't mean there was an institute for training where people go for constant training. If you want to be promoted there in Edo State now, you have to go and write some series of exams to show that you have upgraded your skill and you give promotion. Before then, promotion used to be on a man-to-man, no-man basis. You used to have people go to, when they began, because the governor goes to his village and pack all the crankus, people who do not have the mental capacity to make meaningful contribution to government. All of those things have stopped. Today, we've elevated civil society. Only those who have capacity to contribute are being brought in so that we can ensure that government services are given time, significance, and opportunity to seamlessly service the people. Those when you talk about training, there are people who spin on manner. Even the Palmas was dilapidated. One of us came aboard, there's a video going around where I went to look at the Palma structure, where they saw different things happening. Where it was a redundant building. Nothing was happening. But go and check there now. Everything is upgraded. They are all state-of-the-art facilities, and business is going on in that place. Okay. So you cannot begin to compare Adams Ali Oshomole government to compare them to what did Oshomole do? Oshomole did big roads, Airport Road. He did some supply road, Akpava Road. Many of those state government roads that were funded back. Call the other, about those on the ready for revolution. What exactly do you have? I can sit down here for 1 hour. I will begin to name project by project that according to Obaseki has done. But it's unfortunate that even the APC, they will not want to acknowledge that fact, because as at this point in time, when they were given ample opportunity, they will preside over the federal government. The problem we face today, Obaseki is now working against the tide. They have done so badly and so poorly that Obaseki now has to begin to increase minimum wage, begin to attract foreign investment, to boost the idea of Edo State, to ensure that Edo State does not sink like other states. Okay. We see the pervasive hunger in this state. We saw the food inflation. This state, Obaseki is working against the tide because of the cluelessness and
ineptitude. So let me pause you and bring Mr. Ken now. Ken, I saw you nodding your head to some of the things that
there are certain issues I need to clarify.
Yeah.
First of all, I was once a civil servant, so I know what the civil service was then and what it is now. First of all, Edo State have the lowest number of manpower across the South states.
Very true.
Go and do your verification. Obaseki have not done major employment in the last 8 years. Under Lucky Benedion, the one single employment we did at the local government level then was about 5,000 or over. Now we don't have that kind of employment going on. They came up with this issue of Edo Best, this, that, or they are not doing any job, they are not doing any massive employment. First of all, I want to ask my friend, When you have to do employment in the civil service, the rules are that you advertise on newspapers, national newspaper, so that people will be aware. Not the one you are doing through what you call, is it Edolites they call them or what? Or do job, sorry. I can tell you the number of people, they just like you said, those are the kind of job they do there in Edo job. First class, maybe 1 or 2 people make first class in the universities and they'll just pick them and employ them. That's what they do. Other than that, they are not doing massive employment. The last one they just did for the teachers, as we speak, the last interview, or they have done interview now, they are yet to be given an appointment letter. You should go on, you should confirm that. They are yet to be given an appointment letter. So all those things are just, I don't want to use the word, but they are deceptive. I think that's the right word. Now, first of all, let me tell you, I want to clear the issue of the minimum wage. Obaseki is not paying 70,000 minimum. Let me clear that. With my experience as a civil servant, I will tell you, I did my research. I did the research on minimum wage. Now, I have people, friends who are still working in the civil service. I find out a particular friend of mine who is on level 15. I ask him, what is your salary? And he gave me a figure of around 230, 250,000. If I ask more than 1 or 2 of them, I said, a level 15 officer, they should go and verify. You are a journalist, investigative journalist, go and do your investigation. I called a friend in Lagos who is in civil service, where they are presently being paid 35,000 minimum wage. And I asked him, what is your salary as a level 15 officer? He said his salary is around 350,000. And I was wondering, how are we not paying 70,000 minimum wage? Let me tell you what he did. It's all deceptive as well. What he did was to say the minimum wage is 70,000. That is, the lowest worker gets 70,000 naira. That is it. Then implemented it on the allowances. He just added 40,000 across board. If that's what he did, go and find out. Everybody that is receiving salary today, the difference between their old salary and their present salary is between 30 and 40,000. Yes. And let me come back. Don't laugh over it. You don't know that. That's my field. I will tell you better. I will educate you on that. Now, he did not implement minimum wage on the basic salary. And it is the basic salary that is more paramount because that is the one they are going to use to work out your pension. When you retire eventually, they don't use your allowances to calculate your pensions. What they will use is your basic. Now, if your basic is very low, as of when you retire, be rest assured that your what you call it, your pension is going to be very low. Yeah. And Obaseki has not in the last 8 years, has not implemented increment in salary. That is the 40,000 that he said implemented, including the 70,000. There is no increase. Listen,
just hold on.
Yes, I want you to watch because you don't know. You are not experienced in this field.
Gentlemen, Udubai, please, when a discussion is going on.
I didn't interrupt him. I just laughed.
These are things that I have facts.
It's interruptive. Just stay.
Sorry,
I want you to be educated today. Yes, on this issue, in the civil servants, in the civil service, you will be educated, and I will lecture you on this. Listen. Go and do your finest as a journalist. A Lagos State level 15 officer is earning 350,000. Edo State level 15 officer is earning 250,000. So how are you paying minimum wage? Lagos State is on 35,000 minimum wage, and yet their salary is 100,000 over more than the one that is paying 70,000 naira minimum wage. If you go to Delta State and do other verification, you'll find out that they are even earning more than Edo State.
All right. So
now let me go to other areas.
Yeah, let's take it.
So the issue. I have been looking for an opportunity to debunk that wrong or deceptive assumption that Edo State is paying 70,000. Even the civil servants, they know it. Then let's go back to the issue of he's doing roads, he's doing this. But
that'll be after this break. We need to go for a pause now. The program is still this morning on ITV. Now, when we return, I'm going to be coming back to Peter Okumbawa and also Honorable Udubai to debunk some of the things that he said about the minimum wage 70,000 naira and all that, because that's why we have two sides of the coin. Just stay tuned.
TMI, every opinion counts.
All right, thank you one more time. The program is still here this morning on ITV. Now, that jingle promo you just watched is for the debate. We're going to be giving the opportunity to various candidates to come and talk to the Edolite. But right now, we've got members of various campaign councils in this election. We've got a member of the PDP campaign council, the YPP campaign council, and of course, the APC campaign council. Now, let me come to Peter Okumbawa one more time. So many things that Udubai and Kenny said talked about on development projects and all that. The question that we keep on asking other political parties, apart from the PDP, is what change do they really desire to effect? So that at the end of the day, it won't be a story of trying to replicate what we had before. That was what probably gave rise to when Udubai said that you have the John Ojige staff training school, and there was an argument that there was a civil service training center before in Edo State. Peter Okumbawa.
I think that for any government that is intentional about the people, there are certain markers and indicators, naturally. And these markers and indicators don't need much in terms of it being preached. It now becomes a policy that affects the people to the grassroots to the extent that they can relate with it. They're no longer trying to impress it on them. One of the problems I've always had people who have had the opportunity to be in government, or those who are in government, trying to over-preach candidatures in an election of this sort, is that you've had the opportunity to actually do more than talk. Let their actions speak for itself. Then let the people be the judge of such, because in the end, power must be to the people. The true power that the people have to exercise is before election, because after election, the people have no power anymore. It is the power they have to elect that leader on very luminous, clear terms, which you now call manifesto. That is a problem I have with the PDP manifesto. They put it out in public domain. Good enough is enough. It's good for us to criticize it. Yeah, the YPP's own is on public domain to abate that it is in the internet space in the form of a video, audio format. Shadra, please, can I ask that you stop laughing maniacally when somebody else is talking?
Yeah, gentlemen, I said this a while ago. Let us try to maintain.
Oh, I'm very sorry. It was just funny.
This is a public program. I mean, viewers are watching all over the world. We should not distract our viewers. Just a lesson. You may go.
As I was saying, sir. When you look at I'm speaking on these issues because in the end, it's all our lives. Mine, my children, and the generation after them. It's all now formulated in the policy, as it were. Usually, governance is a bad idea that you now call policy making. I asked myself, I haven't studied that manifesto through and through. I asked myself, there is one very important question that was evaded all through that manifesto, and it's a question of how. How do you intend to bring these things to bear? When you say we're going to do this in the health sector, I'm asking myself, data is very important here. What is the population of Edo versus the present healthcare centers in Edo State? What is the perennial health need of Edo people vis-a-vis what the environment had constantly regurgitated in terms of health challenge that should now be looking at the focal point in our health centers? What is the personnel strength of the present Edo healthcare system versus the population of Edo people? What is the present healthcare system that manages maternity rates in Edo, as it were? When I look at all of this, I ask myself, how do you intend to bridge the gap that is ever expanding between the ordinary people, the poor people of Edo, at the level of accessing healthcare, when indeed the distance between them and their finances is always now expanding? How do you intend to make healthcare that available? I've also asked a lot of questions on the behalf of Edo people, on behalf of myself, because look at it, except the people wills it, and God intervenes. Nigeria elections are funny. Oh, except God intervenes and the people wills it. So I know that the white people must not get there. So if the white people must not get there, it's another party that will get there anyhow they want to get there. I have to ask them questions on behalf of Edo people. Because if the white people gets there, we won't ask these questions. We will do for the ordinary people what they have a need of, because we're as ordinary as the word ordinary is. When you talk about certain things in the states that are not looking good, some persons come on air and want to defend it. I'm appalled in my spirit because truth does not need any form of coloration. Gari, for example, is a staple food in Edo State and in Nigeria. Gari has no interplay between the stock exchange market and the value exchange market in terms of dollar rates, in terms of what should determine the Gari price. Gari is strictly from the farm to peeling, to processing, and to frying. Then people have the need of Gari. They can process it to other flakes or akpu, you want to call the fufu, and the rest of them. These people live on it, particularly in our rural areas.
So when your government comes, your political party comes in power, how do you intend to effect the change?
We will not remove the reserves from the people who have been farming for our people. We will be mindful of security at the rural area level, because without security at the rural area level, agriculture, whatever policy you have on agriculture is just a facade. We will be intentional to the extent that the Chinese companies that are now buying gari from cassava from us to fleece as ethanol in their own place, because we don't use ethanol, cassava ethanol here, but they are advanced enough to use it. They're good. I'm happy that those states have laid the foundation for doing business with them. But listen to me, sir. Why is it that they did not just open new reserves for them instead of going to the existing reserves that our people were using to farm cassava for our people and gave it to the Chinese company? We could have had the best of both worlds, because from Benin here to Lagos, it's all bush across left and right side of our forest reserves. We would have opened new areas for these guys to plant their cassavas, take it in the form of ethanol, and then we receive the money. Answer, I have another problem. All the billions you quoted, I don't see it reflecting critical infrastructures in Edo State. You mentioned, the candidate of PDP mentioned that Edo had risen from 15 billion asset-based state to a 25 billion asset-based state. And on ITV here, I saw that from palm oil, Edo has received so far $600 million US, not 60 million US dollars, $600 million US dollars. And I asked myself, what should the school, what should the hospital, what should the markets, what should the road of a state that have received this to be like? So I leave the question to Edo people to answer.
Okay,
not political gladiators.
Honorable Odubai, you have your turn now. Quickly, now people are saying big kudos to the state governor. You know, the innovations he brought into the health sector. I'm going to take off from where he talked about the heads and all that. Now, he also mentioned that one of the biggest challenge in that direction is accessibility to some of these health programs and all that. But we have a health insurance policy that...
Edo HIS.
Hold on now. I'm speaking from, because I'm a beneficiary. I mean,
God bless you.
So perhaps I may be speaking the minds of other people in the state.
It's a beneficiary
so what is the guarantee, Shedrack, what is the guarantee that Aswa Ighodalo, when it comes into power, that all these complaints had not been accessible, you cannot afford it and all that?
Where are the structures?
You see, Aswa Ighodalo, we take Obaseki government to the next level. I want to admit, I want to appreciate, you know, like he said the candidate, their manifesto is nowhere. You can go to their Facebook page and they look for the videos of where the brothers spoke about what we do. Gather together as their manifesto.
No, he didn't say so. He said it's a public manifesto.
He says it's public domain. It's on WhatsApp and Facebook.
Just the way your own is on the social media. That's what he said.
Mine is on paper. I have the printed document.
He said so that it's on paper.
No, he said it's on Facebook and on WhatsApp.
But he's going to react to that.
Then you leave that one. Then he also, I also appreciate that he said that Edo State has risen from a $12 billion visit to that means there's a government that is doing something novel that is attracting international investors. That is good. And I want to reply so much of my brother and say, you know, when people begin to reduce intellectual discussion to pursue joint engagement, beer parlor discussion, and say, Obaseki raised minimum wage from 30,000 to 70,000, there's only 40,000 added across all the salaries. And that pronouncement was made on a national television. So you mean all the labor unions, all the TSC, you see, they are all doubt and dumb. Now Obaseki will make such a pronouncement, and today there's no body at the public domain to say, governor did not implement something that, there's nothing, no news media in that direction. Everybody is glamoring. Even Oshomole is commending him on national television. His own leader is commending Obaseki for the minimum wage movement, and the NSC is using it as an example of the federal government. Let me not engage on that, because people can say what they like, but people will know better. I will focus squarely on Aswa Ighodalo's manifesto. In what he has said, he has given out a 5-point agenda that said, first of all, will be well-being. The man is focused on repositioning the state and ensuring that Edo People has the best. The first thing on that well-being is that he will reduce the poverty level of Edo State to less than 10%. The federal government, once we know what the federal government has done in the past 3 administrations, they have made Nigeria the headquarters of poverty. Over 30 or 40 to almost 40% of Nigerians are in multi-dimensional poverty. But the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Aswa Ighodalo, has said that he understands that Obaseki has done in agriculture, but Obaseki's major investment in agriculture is in cash crop, is in oil palm, is in rubber. That was why Edo State was previously number 6 in oil palm production, but now it's now number 1 in the largest area cultivated for oil palm. Edo State was probably in rubber production. Edo State has gone high in the Ironigbe rubber production. But he said no, he will come and address food crop production. He will go for maize, he will go for rice, he will go for stable food, because Obaseki didn't know that the cluelessness of the APC federal government will sink Nigeria into hunger and poverty. That is why Obaseki went for those cash crops to ensure he attracts foreign investment. Aswa Ighodalo said now he's going to ensure that we focus on food crop production. He has also said that we build one of the largest food banks across Edo State to ensure that foods are available for the poorest of the poor and the vulnerable in Edo State. The same Aswa Ighodalo has said in his manifesto, just on that well-being alone, alone, that he understands the role of healthcare facility, that he commends the governor for his commission, the effort he has made in public health and in the Edo health insurance scheme that is elaborate, where people only have to pay 10% of their total bills in any hospital across the state. Among major, both federal and private hospitals, the Edo health insurance scheme covers it all. And I tell you also that all pensioners in Edo state are enrolled in that health insurance scheme and they are receiving access. Even delivery is almost free for that health insurance scheme. But all these are dividends of Godwin Obaseki. But as Gudala has said, he will make sure that Edo state becomes a tourist center for health, people who are seeking health facilities. They are going to be one of the largest health facilities in the state. He has also spoken about education. He said, yes, he had listened to the Edo Best sector transformation. He had seen most of the merits. They are going to infuse technology and stabilize. They show that what they are teaching in Magoro Primary School today is the same thing they are teaching in Edo Girls Grammar School, that they have synchronized it. But some people have also criticized, and I said, yes, I have listened clearly to the criticism. What I will come is to onboard the system, study the achievements they have done, and I will build on the negatives and ensure that we have a holistic and robust. As well, Godalo understands that education is the center, is at the center of human development. The education is an army that liberates the human mind. And he also said, in order to curb the issue of unemployment, that at the age of 15, infrastructures will be made to ensure that every child learns a skill. That are the prosperity of us under the well-being. He has said he will put in place almost free public transport on public vehicles that will be running on CNG, because we know that Nigeria federal government is in charge of that administration. Where we have risen fuel price from almost 100 naira to 800 naira. That if it's CNG, what will cost you about 800 naira for the go, will cost you about 300 naira because it is gas. So he has said that on a whole lot on that well-being. On the second hand, he has spoken about the economic prosperity of the state. He said he will grow economy. That's where the man is a master. He said he will build production centers in the 3 senatorial districts of Edo State. That in his tenure, he said in his tenure, this first tenure, they will begin to do they will to export made in Edo goods, made in Edo talent, made in Edo services. That we ensure that Edo State is another city. You cannot travel from the southwest to the southeast without crossing Edo. Right, so Edo is a center and a hub, and we reposition the state. We're going to build industrial parks to ensure that he attracts more foreign investors. Having made the environment secure, he will engage in all of those to ensure that we are ushered into an area of prosperity. He said it will make sure that he will return Edo State as the food basket of the Southern Nigeria. There are other places. There are a lot to talk about. There's environment, there's good governance, there's security and well-being of people. So
your time. I mean, let's be fair enough.
Thank you very much.
Allow other people to take their time.
Let's focus on what the issues are.
It's not only, you're not the only person.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I have a lot to say.
Too. Now, the APC guy, Ken Erun said, the poverty, we must be sincere, economic quagmire as it stands now in the nation. I mean, we have the APC at the federal level, and Nigerians are so concerned about the poverty level in the country. Now, for your own party, the greatest challenge is that people are concerned. Is it not going to be a case of transferring the poverty at the national level to the states if you eventually come into power in Edo states? How do you tend to debunk all these beliefs and mindset with Edolites?
Yeah, thank you so much. I will start on that note. It is one of the governors that is tackling food security in the whole of Nigeria today. It's an APC governor, the governor of Niger State.
We're talking about those states.
No, you are talking about bringing it from the national. I'm just trying to tell you that that is not the case, because the governors that are actually tackling food security in Nigeria today are from the APC stock. For example, the governor of Niger State is just a year old, and he has invested so much in agriculture. Over 1,000 tractors were launched the other day to go into mass production, mass mechanized farming that will eventually be the hub of food in Nigeria. Why is that so? That's strategic thinking, vision. He just indicted the governor now when he said the governor didn't know that there was going to be food crisis. That was why he was not bothered about going investing in food crops or food crops. He was now investing in what do you call it?
Cash crop, oil palm.
He was investing in cash crop, that is oil palm. And what do you call it?
Rubber.
As we speak, the oil palm production is talking about, they are not government owned. These are privately owned. And what I just to align what my friend said earlier on, rather than giving this land or expanding new land, we have a lot of reserves that have not been utilized. It was taking land from the people where they were able to doing their farming These are people you should have encouraged, because that's why I say this government.
Now, when you say the government taking land from the people, we have to be careful with that now, because we do know that land ownership.
No, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Yes, land ownership is for God. Well, I'm saying that if you are going to take land from the people, it should be for the public good. That is because the law is clear about it.
Is there ever a time that Governor Obaseki took land from?
That's why I'm saying you don't take land from the people where they are actually doing their farming, rather encourage them to go into. That's why we're having food problem to them. Like you rightly said, the governor did not know that. He didn't have the vision. Because a thinking governor would have known that a time like this may come. That is why he would have invested in agriculture. But no, the governor will not do that. You know why? He's interested in elitist politics. This government has succeeded in the last 8 years to invest in those things that has to do with the elite in the society. The things that will affect the common man, like building markets. You will see the governor build a market. But rather he will go and build a shopping mall. Build hospital. Is the governor building a shopping mall right now? Yes, there's a shopping mall that they have invested. They've destroyed the library and they're building a shopping mall. Build hospitals. You will not build an hospital. Rather, you go and build Radisson Hotel. Those are things for the elite. The ones that we have said, now, let's go back. He indicted himself again. When he said the health sector. It was all about health insurance policy.
Scheme, yeah.
This was the novel idea of the federal government, the APC government. This health insurance scheme thing started under the government of Buhari up to now. It's a federal government initiative. Yeah, the state only copy. Listen now, Edo State is only copying from it. Good, they're doing well in that regard. But I'm telling you, in the health sector, we have failed. Edo State government has failed totally. Only recently, the governor or the government indicted itself again when he sacked the commissioner for health. What was the reason? That the commissioner of health is not delivering. That he wanted to lead strong, or to, you understand, and that when you go to Stella Obaseki, let me tell you.
Do you have issues with that? I mean, Governor Godwin Obaseki.
That is what I'm saying. Now, the hospital, that is Stella Obaseki hospital, that is renovating. It's not a legacy project. It's not his project. It's an existing Evans.
Yeah, but
let me tell you, Stella Obaseki, I'm passionate about that hospital. My 3 kids were all born there. Now, all of a sudden, a governor woke up and closed down the hospital because he was going to add or maybe do some renovations. Do you close down an existing government hospital, a government that serves the people and serve the public? Because that is a government. You closed it down totally because you are doing renovation. Because all you do, the hospital is an existing hospital. It's not a fresh one. You didn't build it. It was lucky. We never built the hospital. You are just adding up. You are adding some structures and maybe doing some renovations. That wouldn't have required you to close down the hospital if you feel for the people. The same way you close, you broke the Central Hospital, where a lot of us were born, over 100 years old hospital. Those are things that affect the common man. You closed it down, and you are building a museum there. Museum for what? 300 feet from the National Museum. All in the name of servicing the elite. Now, the Radisson Hotel, what do we need an hotel for? When we are lacking basic infrastructure, we don't have roads. Even Aswan Godalo, in one of his programs on Arise, I can still recall, he indicted the present governor that obviously there are no good roads in Edo State. I was watching Rufai yesterday on Arise TV, and he mentioned the same thing that he drove around Edo State. There's no road anywhere in Edo State. Now, those are the basic infrastructure that drive economic development. Okay, now, the things that drive economic development are those basic infrastructure of road, education, healthcare. Those are the things that drive an economy. And those are the things that the common man will benefit from. Now, the things that are supposed to benefit the common man, the government is not interested. All of a sudden, I woke up to say, I want to start doing roads. I want to finish the Stella Obaseki for 4 years. All right, look at the Ogbo road. You have been Kenwa road. You have been on that road for the last 4 years.
All right, so gentlemen,
a 20-kilometer road. You cannot complete in 4 years.
Yeah, because I've been told that my time is so limited. Now, Peter Okumbowa, now, what do you make of all these talks here and there that the governor is building hotels, is building this and that? Because what we hear is that at times some of these initiatives are PPP, private, ownership basics and all that. Now, what do you make of it?
There is no government that can exclusively do without involving the private sector.
Okay.
But a government that is people-centric will do a kind of deal that the public will always benefit over the private, because the public are more in need of that. Yeah. And the private sectors are basically coming in for profits. For me, the issues of The debacle now you can see between the APC and the PDP people has been age-long. 1999 to date, they've had their chance at power.
And that's what you're capitalizing on?
And here we are, still talking back and forth, people getting emotional to the extent to that the PDP guy is trying to insinuate that the YPP candidature has his manifestos on WhatsApp and stuff. When he himself, Shadrach Odubai, was one of those persons who were solidly behind Paul, coming to meetings to respect the ideas he had in governance until they made him essay. And you come up here on TV and now begin to denigrate or use languages that we tend to, I say it's funny. Let's stay on issues. Edo is more important than this war. We've always told the Edo people, they'll keep fighting with your resources.
All right, thank you so much. I'm so afraid, Odubai, thank you so much because of time. I have to
let me just round up. Let me just round up.
Thank you so much. My producer just stood there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Now, the time is so limitless. We've got plenty of time ahead of us. 66 days. By tomorrow, it's going to be 65 days. So perhaps we'll still call you one more time before September 21st for the election. Peter Okungbowa, educationist, a member of YPP Campaign Council. That's the Young Progressive Party for the Edo 2024 election. A big thank you. And also Mr. Shadrach Odubai, member the AIO2 Campaign Council as well. Thank you so much. And the erudite Ken Eru said, thank you so much for finding time to join on the program today.
Thank you so much.